His followers believed that he had supernatural powers, including the power to avoid government prosecution. But now the last chapter appears to have been written in the story of the cult and the con. Today, a federal jury found a martial arts master who ran a nationwide chain of schools guilty of masterminding a multi-million-dollar tax fraud conspiracy. The case was the direct result of a Channel 2 investigation exposing the schools as a front for a cult and a con. Pam Zechman is here now with the latest, Pam.
Linda, this was no ordinary, boring tax fraud trial. During months of testimony, witness after witness wove in testimony about how they helped John C. Kim skim cash from the schools because they were victims of mind control and brainwashing. To them, Kim was more than a martial arts master. He was a spiritual leader who they believed had supernatural powers. Today, John C. Kim's all-powerful image was seriously damaged after a jury found him guilty of masterminding a tax fraud conspiracy.
It's not fair. No.
Why isn't it fair?
Because it's not true.
Kim ran dozens of schools like this in the city and suburbs where we disclosed instructors were trained to target vulnerable students, convincing the weakest to leave their homes and jobs and give all their time and money to Kim.
I give a lot of credit to Channel 2, not only by bringing it to light, but staying after it once you had brought it to light.
As a result of our stories, Kim and 4 other top school leaders were convicted today.
What it says is that people cannot engage in nationwide profit skimming, tax cheating over a period of 2 decades and get away with it.
Key to the government's case, the power Kim held over his followers.
Kim had an extraordinary amount of control over the and they were extremely loyal to him, and these were the people that Defendant Kim depended upon to operate his schools and skim his cash for him.
2 even testified that Kim gave them a loyalty test. First, they had to choose between leaving the schools or death. When they chose to die, they said Kim choked them until it was impossible to breathe. Then he would declare they passed. He presented evidence from people who said that they skimmed money on your orders.
It's lie.
That this was all your plan when you first came to this country?
No.
Late today, Judge James Holderman had Kim taken into custody after the government argued he was a flight risk. The judge said he was troubled that Kim, who frequently traveled to his Korean homeland, could not say where his passport is, claiming he misplaced it. Kim and 10 others who were either found guilty or pled guilty will be sentenced later. Lester and Linda.
Pam, thank you.
The head of a national chain of martial arts schools, convicted of orchestrating one of the largest tax fraud conspiracies ever prosecuted, was sentenced to 5 years in prison today. The indictment of John C. Kim and his top followers was the direct result of a News 2 investigation. News 2 Chicago's Pam Zechman has the latest on the schools that she exposed as a front for a cult and a con.
They recruited the most vulnerable students using mind control techniques, convincing them that John C. Kim had supernatural powers. In reality, Kim, the martial arts master, was the mastermind of a $7 million tax cheating scheme that demanded students at their 30 schools pay in cash.
They would then take the cash, skim it, deposit only a portion of it, and it was only on that deposit they paid taxes, so the skim was enormous.
In arguing for a maximum sentence in the case, the prosecutor said Kim was extremely manipulative, a man who did things she could only describe as evil to keep the loyalty of his followers.
John C. Kim made them believe that they should end their lives here on earth. Steps were taken to achieve that end, and then Master Kim announced that they had passed the loyalty test.
In court, the prosecutor also cited Kim's threats of violence, including one threat to have me killed.
The threat was that the crazy lady, which everyone understood to mean a reference to you, Miss Zechman, needed to suffer an accident of some sort in order to put a stop to the revelation regarding their activities.
In a tearful plea for leniency, Kim apologized to the court and even to me, saying he meant no harm. But the judge said the threat showed the lengths Kim would go to protect his operation and gave him the maximum sentence. And Lester and Linda, now the IRS can go after him for more than $2 million in taxes that he owes, plus penalties.
Had to have taken you off guard when he actually apologized to you.
He really did. He spent about 5 minutes talking and apologizing and apologizing to the court and saying that he really meant no harm.
All right, Pam Zankman.